speech today is about character comes from getting up from a fall. The world stopped still when the Twin Towers fell. The sights and the sufferings were shocking and made all of us feel very vulnerable. But as Carrie Cook says to all of his audiences, getting knocked down in life is inevitable, but it is getting back up that counts. Sometimes the fall of a country is loss. Sometimes it is the suffering of an entire race due to long-term discrimination, and sometimes it is not getting into the school of your choice. But persistence pays off as you can overcome with time. This is a life lesson that applies to everyone. Although the world is full of suffering, it is also full of overcoming. 9/11 was one of the worst days in our country's history. I remember being in first grade when it all happened. We were all shocked, we were all so sad, and I remember exactly where I was on that day. But 12 years later, our country has grown and overcome. We are safer since then. We are wiser about the world. And earlier this year, the Twin Tower Memorial in New York City was inspiring, providing a clear example of our country overcoming and learning from a tragedy. But President Obama's election represented all African Americans overcoming centuries of suffering and discrimination. Going back to slavery, Jim Crow laws, and to even today, African Americans have suffered forever. The fact that Barack Obama was elected president is a great example of an entire race overcoming suffering. This does not mean discrimination has ended. It has not, as there are still examples of a lot of discrimination today in our world. But almost no one would have predicted that an African American president would be elected president so soon. People in the 1960s would have never thought that it was possible. President Obama's election shows the light and gives us hope to never give up hope, even when it seems impossible. Like so many other kids, I did not get into my first choice school, but in this case, it was my middle school. All the other kids in my elementary school were accepted into the #1 middle school, but not for me. I went to a low-ranked school very far from my house. I was incredibly depressed for a very long time. But I made friends, I learned to love my school, I worked hard, and ended up being student body president, and my GPA was in the top 10% of my grade. In my own way, I suffered and then overcame. This is a life lesson for all of us. We will face disappointments and injustices in life. There will be times when we suffer, but we should never give up hope, because through time and tenacity, people can always overcome. As Kelly Clarkson's song says, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. This is true. So as long as you keep your attitude to strive to overcome, overcoming is what makes us stronger and ultimately gives us character.